Test 1 2, test 1 2, test 1 2, test 1 2. All right, guys, how's everyone doing? It's been too long, been far too long since I streamed, so happy to be back online. You know who's not happy? Oh shit. What is going on right now? Why is it just showing my OBS? Display capture, window capture. Shut that down, shut down. This? Okay, this is what I need. There we go. Now we're good. Sorry if that was a little trippy. You know who's not happy? You know who's not happy? Donald Trump and all of the establishment Republicans. They are not happy today. So we're going to get into it because when Donald Trump is not happy, that is a day where I am happy. Okay? Let's watch this, but I kind of want to get to MTG first. MTG has become one of my favorite characters in the Republican Party because she's just unhinged and her own party knows that she's unhinged, and I kind of love it. Like, her own party, it's like it's like the fucking wild
proudly
card,
rise today
that they talk about in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Who no one wants a wild card on their team, but that's what they have in MTG. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Also, what's up, Grace? Happy to have you along with me tonight.
in a bipartisan effort to release the Epstein files finally, after 5 administrations have covered it up. Earlier today, I attended the press conference where the survivors, they're not victims, the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse and sex trafficking told their stories. And they told stories about how it started back in 1991, 1996, and they continued on through the decades. And they told stories about how they told someone and tried to get help. They told the FBI and they weren't listened to. And they told law enforcement and no one did anything. And these women don't just number a few. These women number around 1,000 women. And they are victims of something that's unthinkable. And this should have never, ever happened. This was the biggest fight I think I've seen in Washington, D.C. This is my 5th year here. And this was a fight that we...
This is literally the rapist administration. It's not really the hill you want to die on to be like, yes, I'm fighting against rapists, but also I support this administration. Let's see. Trump allegations, Epstein. So there were multiple women that came forward to accuse Donald Trump of like raping them. Obviously, there was one in specific who accused Donald Trump and Epstein of like raping her together. So what is this? November 12th, Democrats. So this just happened a few weeks ago. Epstein said that Trump had spent hours at his house with Virginia Giuffre. How do you say her name? Virginia Giuffre? How many redactions? Oh, it's going to be... I think the question is how many words are not going to be redacted on these files. I know that, like, this is a common name, but... Virginia, I'm just going to sound like a fucking idiot when I say it. Virginia Giuffre. And that Trump was the dog that didn't bark. Although Giuffre, I need to look this up. I'm sorry, guys. This is going to drive me crazy. Virginia Giuffre. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, they're not going to say her name. So there was, I guess, a press conference about...
It's really hard to put into words, honestly. I think we felt like it was such a victory when it passed the House. There was really this sense of momentum and energy. And
yeah, so I guess there is a lot of people, a lot of victims are speaking out about this.
We were very excited, but we were also steeling ourselves again because we believed that there would be a long road ahead of us with trying to get it to the floor of the Senate and then getting it past the Senate. So to hear, at this moment when we are coming together, honoring survivors, more generally, and then specifically honoring the memory of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, I really felt like, to be speaking about her and then getting this word, it felt like she was with us, and she was a big part of what made this happen. So it was an incredible moment.
Michael, this is survivor-led movement.
Hey, glad to have your cat watching along, Grace.
The only reason accountability came today is because of the women like Annie, like Virginia.
It's been a very powerful lesson for the country in perseverance and in the ability to make the country pay attention to victims. Because we are so quick to victim shame and to blame and to ignore. And as we were talking a little bit before, they said, oh, well, you really, is that? I don't know who that is. Who are you talking about? Just sort of dismiss it and create a distance. And so your voice, all of the voices, and Ms. Giuffre's voice is a big crystallizing force here. Another part of this voice is, of course, having representation like yourself, dogged, determined representation.
The sad reality is these people on like the news, MS is the new name of like MSNBC, MS and other legacy news media are lauding these survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse for speaking out and being like, you are drawing attention to this. But the sad reality is we have such a skewed justice system that this is the only way anything's going to get done. People that have really, they should have no responsibility to bring their own abusers to justice. They suffered enough abuse, they suffered enough trauma. It should not be their job to also do a social media campaign to draw attention to that abuse so that their abuser can face justice. Like the news, notice how the news isn't like, yes, and let's get all of the perpetrators let's bring them all to justice. If Donald Trump raped people, then he's going to go to prison. No, we don't get that at all. All we get is, you're so brave for speaking out. You're doing such a good job. I'm so happy that I can live in a country where the survivors of sex trafficking need to be the ones that speak out against sex trafficking in order to get anything done. In order to get the leaders of our country to get their fucking asses in gear and try to take down like pedophile sex traffickers. The only way that happens apparently is if the victims have to relive that trauma over and over and over again until enough people are finally like, enough people in the right positions are finally like, okay, yeah, we got to do something. This is getting pretty bad. There's a little bit too much pedophilia that's going unchecked. Let's at least give them a symbolic releasing of the files of the notorious sex criminal. Maybe we can do a bit of a symbolic release of that. Like, let's talk about justice. Let's talk about repercussions. Let's talk about holding people responsible for their crimes.
Matters too. One of the aspects of this that I think a lot of people have found fascinating is, we talk about the bedfellows in politics and how it creates this moment where different people that you never think would be at the table or in the room or at the table and in the room advocating for you. I would like you to listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor earlier. Let's take a quick listen.
Well, we're going to listen to her. Let's just listen to her right now. But yeah, Virginia, oh yeah, so it is Virginia Giuffre. They claim, like Donald Trump claims, that she never accused him of sexual impropriety. But obviously, like, Trump threatens people that have accused him. He's countersued people that have accused him. Jeffrey Epstein was like leaking information to the press about Donald Trump, and he ended up dead. So of course, like, just simply her being intimidated into saying, I never saw Trump do anything bad, that's not an exoneration of Donald Trump from actually not doing anything bad. And like, if the rumors are to be believed, Jeffrey Epstein has videos, he has footage of everything that went on in his house with these underage girls. So like, that's why people want the evidence and the files released. It's just crazy how victims of abuse have to be the ones that are leading the charge to bring their abusers to justice. Like, that is almost an expectation in this country. Not only like sexual violence, but also just physical violence. Like, you see victims of school shootings pleading with our politicians to do something to end school shootings. I mean, it's really just disgusting how we've become so stagnant in our systems, where not even people that are that are victims of like some of the worst interpersonal crimes you can do, which is underage sex trafficking, and they're the ones that are like pleading with politicians to please do something, please hold these people accountable. And then when some kind of movement happens, it's not even like talking about, oh, what's the next step to hold these people accountable? It's, oh, congratulations on being brave and speaking out about this. No, that's not, it's really not a success. It's not. It's like the first step in actually getting some kind of justice. Okay, so history, plane flights, Maria Farmer allegations. Trump flew in Epstein's private plane 7 times between 1993 and 1997. Maria Farmer, the first person to report Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to law enforcement, encountered Trump late at night in Epstein's Manhattan office. Farmer was then in her mid-20s. She described Trump as leering at her in a way that felt threatening, until Epstein entered the room and warned him off, saying, no, she's not here for you. God damn, bro. When Epstein is the good one, when Epstein's the good cop in your interaction, it just really shows how fucking monstrous Donald Trump is. Like, when Epstein is releasing emails and he's like, Donald Trump is a monster, he's hideous, he's like a psychopath. When Epstein is the one who's like, Trump is a creepy guy, you know that Donald Trump is actually just a complete monster. And Farmer overheard Trump say he had assumed Farmer was a teenager. What the fuck, dude? In 1997, Trump inscribed a copy of his book, Trump, The Art of the Comeback, to Epstein, writing, "You are the greatest." Epstein and Trump were photographed together at Mar-a-Lago in the same year. Okay. Virginia Giuffre. As a teenager, Virginia Giuffre worked as a locker room attendant in the spa. There she met Maxwell, who recruited her as Epstein's masseuse. Trump told reporters on July... I can't believe it took this year for Trump to be like, I broke up with Epstein because he was trafficking women that worked in my spa from me. So we've covered this before. Birthday letter, falling out, 2007, alleged ban from Mar-a-Lago after Epstein's conviction. 2025 congressional investigation, exchanges with Michael Wolff. Just want to see, let's see, how many sex allegations against Trump. His brother did come out and say that. Epstein's brother? Yeah, I think I heard something about that. Allegations of underage sex parties. Allegations were made by 2 men stating that Trump had attended and partaken in sex parties filled with underage minors as young as 15 years old, who were induced with promises of career advancement. Illegal drugs were also alleged to have been provided to the minors. One man who was identified as model and actor Andy Lucchesi, while the other was identified as a fashion photographer who spoke on condition of anonymity. Both men claim to have been acquaintances of Trump during the decade. Relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. They joined various NFL cheerleaders. NBC News revealed footage where Trump and showing Trump, Epstein, and the cheerleaders. Trump grabbed a woman around her waist, pulled her against his body, and patted her buttocks. It's like, I can just imagine him doing this now. Jill Harth dropped a sexual misconduct lawsuit against Trump from the Calendar Girl competition, where she alleged Trump took her into a bedroom and forcibly kissed and fondled her and restrained her from leaving. Trump and Epstein were also spotted at a 1997 Victoria's Secret Angels party in Manhattan. Epstein attended Trump's 1993 wedding to Marla Maples. Federal lawsuit filed in California in April 2016 against Trump and Epstein by a California woman alleged that the two men sexually assaulted her at a series of parties at Epstein's Manhattan residence in 1994 when she was 13 years old. The suit was dismissed by a federal judge in May 2016 because it did not raise valid claims under federal law. The woman filed another federal suit in New York in June 2016, but it was withdrawn 3 months later, apparently without being served on the defendants. A third federal suit was filed in New York in September of 2016. The two latter suits included affidavits by an anonymous witness who attested to the accusations in the suits, asserting Epstein employed her to procure underage girls for him. An anonymous person who declared the plaintiff had told her about the assaults at the time they occurred. The plaintiff, who had filed anonymously as Jane Doe, was scheduled to appear in an LA press conference 6 days before the 2016 election, but abruptly canceled the event. Her lawyer, Lisa Bloom, asserted that the woman had received threats. The suit was dropped on November 4, 2016. Trump attorney Alan Garten denied the allegations, while Epstein declined to comment. So, yeah, there's like a anonymous person who was threatened into not suing Donald Trump when he was running for the presidency. This was on November 4th. So it was like right before the presidential election, and she was being threatened, and then she ended up withdrawing the lawsuit. And she was claiming that Epstein and Trump raped her when she was 13 years old. So there's a long history that Donald Trump has with sexual assault, at the very least, like sexual impropriety, and like if we're not talking about underage assault, just regular assault. So yeah, we just had to get that up there in order to kind of lay the groundwork for this speech. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that, there are too many pedophiles in this country, who is she talking to? Who is she talking to?
Women. And they are victims
about?
of something that's unthinkable. And this should have never, ever happened. This was the biggest fight I think I've seen in Washington, D.C. This is my 5th year here. And this was a fight that we should have never had to wage. It should have been the easiest thing for every single member of Congress. It should have been the easiest thing for the Speaker of the House. It should have been...
Yeah, and Mike Johnson was doing everything in his power to prevent this from happening. We'll go back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I think it's a good time to play this little gem of a clip. Let's see. Clueless Mike Johnson walking out and being asked about the Epstein files.
Any reaction to Leader Thune seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I'm told I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer.
I don't know. He's so dude. That's my new nickname for him. Clueless Mike Johnson. Every time he's asked something, he says, "I don't know. I'm not aware of it."
Disappointed in this outcome. I think I'm told I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may...
Didn't the House pass it in the first place? Why is he sad that the Senate passed it without doing any amendments?
Veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see.
We both have concerns about it releasing the Epstein files. Dude, he's so clueless. He always says, "I don't know about shit." I mean, obviously, he's just doing it as a defense mechanism for him to not have to answer any questions, but it's still comical. Like, dude, you look like a bumbling buffoon.
You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see. I was standing there with the
Dude, look at all these fucking clones of him too. It's like they just grow these Republicans in a factory.
Are you frustrated in the majority leader? Are you upset with the majority leader?
Dude, why the hell would you say that, like, I'm not happy with the bill that I passed not getting any amendments? Yeah. Oh, this is great. Since all Mike ever says is I didn't hear anything about that or I don't know anything about it, it's lovely to see him visibly panicked. Yeah, but he still said I don't know about shit. Okay. So Mike Johnson, I kind of want to see like another Mike Johnson Epstein files. I need to see another clip of this. Mike Johnson gives the game away on next steps on Epstein bill. Humiliated Johnson fumes as Epstein files saga blows up in his face. Thune denies. Okay, I want to read this article. Thune denies Johnson's demand for Epstein bill changes by Meredith Lee Hill and Jordan Carney. Speaker Mike Johnson said he voted for the Jeffrey Epstein disclosure bill Tuesday based on his hope that the Senate would make changes he's been demanding. Dude, what a fucking coward. You're like, I'm going to vote on this, but I just want to pass the buck onto the Senate. Senate Majority Leader John Thune shot that down. Thune said Tuesday evening that while he had talked with the Speaker about the bill, he and Senate GOP legal counsel decided the legislation was sufficient. The Senate effectively approved the legislation by unanimous consent mere hours after House passage Tuesday afternoon, without provisions sought by Johnson, including additional victim and whistleblower name protections. Talked with the Speaker a bit, and we've been in consultation obviously with the White House on this for some time. Thune told reporters the conclusion was when it came out of the House 427-1 that, it was going to pass in the Senate. Who's the one guy that voted against it? Thune's refusal to amend the bill was just the latest setback Johnson has faced in the Epstein saga, where the Louisiana Republican saw a rank-and-file member of his own party, Representative Thomas Massey, pull off a stunning legislative end run despite the Speaker's months-long opposition campaign. Johnson said after House passage Tuesday that he would insist upon changes. I talked to John Thune over the weekend. I just texted him. We're going to get together. We'll talk about this, Johnson told reporters as he left the floor. There's an easy way to amend the legislation to make sure that we don't do permanent damage to the justice system. Dude, holy shit. Pretending like they care about the justice system is hilarious. I'm going to insist upon that. Asked if he would press Trump to veto the bill if the Senate didn't amend it, Johnson said he would cross that bridge if necessary. He also raised national security concerns. Oh yeah, big national security concerns. Maybe it's because the fucking president is implicated in it, and Israel and Mossad have blackmail on the president that they'd lose if it got released. Maybe that's part of the national security concerns. Thune said Senate Republican lawyers examined the legislation and determined it could go forward without being amended. Dude, it's just like, oh my god, guys, we can't release these files because we need to just like categories or you got to fill in the blanks, right? We need to spin the wheel. Looks like we landed on protect the victims. Or spin the wheel again. Looks like we need to protect national security. Spin it again. Looks like we need to prevent permanent damage to the justice system. Like, it's just fill in the blank. Insert bullshit reason here. He doesn't have any actual arguments against it. And it's shown that he doesn't have any actual arguments against it. When it's just like, yeah, we had our lawyers look at the legislation. It seems fine. Like, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Oh, I don't know. Like, if we release the files after midnight, then the gremlins are gonna turn into little goblins. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They have no actual arguments other than we know our president is a pedophile and we're trying to protect him. Our lawyers obviously had looked closely at some of the issues and had concluded that the bill, I think, was, sufficient to accomplish what needed to be done here, and that is to get the information out there as quickly as possible. Like, I love how it's just like all of these bullshit excuses, and it's just this simple, yeah, we had lawyers look at it, and it's totally good. Like, it's just that little simple rebuttal knocks everything out. Earlier this week, Johnson told reporters that he had received some comfort from the Senate that the chamber would make the changes. But Thune never publicly, and once again, he doesn't want actual changes to be made. What he wants is that the bill isn't passed. Because if changes are made in the Senate, it has to go back to the House, and then the House has to vote for it again. And if Donald Trump can say that, like, the Justice Department is doing an investigation on the Epstein files into Democrats, then they can't release the files anymore, right? Because it's an active investigation that's being done into Democrats, of course. So it's not like we have serious concerns and we just hope that things be changed so that we can vote on it in good conscience. It's that we hope that things are changed so that it's not released and it just keeps getting sent back into the system. And maybe by next week, it's not going to be as big of a story as it is right now. One other argument, too, is if you had changes you wanted to make to the bill, you could have just fucking made the changes. You're the House Majority Leader. Like, you're the Speaker of the House. You have that power. It's just it's an act of political cowardice of Mike Johnson, and he's just simply passing the buck while hoping that the Senate can have his back. He wants to be the one that's like, the files didn't get released, but I voted for the release of the files. And he wants to have it be the Senate that is like, oh yeah, the files didn't get released because I voted against the release of the files. But looks like Thune and the Republican senators called Mike Johnson's bluff. The only short-lived whiff of resistance that appeared in the Senate Tuesday came from Senator Markwayne Mullin, of Oklahoma, who appeared to raise concerns at the last minute but did not block the effort. We were trying to see if we needed to change the language to protect the victims. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you were. Remember the White House is like, Democrats released a few files. Democrats released a few emails of Jeffrey Epstein, and they did it selectively to make Donald Trump look bad, and they redacted the names of the victims. We actually just released the entire collection of emails and didn't redact the names of the victims. So we're just gonna tell you that it was Virginia Jeffrey who Donald Trump spent all evening with Epstein. We're just gonna say that. Yeah, I'm sure that you're really concerned about protecting the victims. And of course, when Republicans say we need to protect the victims, what they're actually saying is we need to protect Donald Trump. Shortly before Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer sought unanimous consent to greenlight the bill, Mullin said that there had been a conversation with the administration about what the Oklahoma Republican characterized as technical changes, which ultimately didn't get made. Oh no, woe is me, we have to release information about pedophiles now. This clip is just so good, we need to go
Reaction
over
to
it one more
Leader
time.
Thune, you seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer.
He's gonna get yelled at by Trump so hard.
Rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see. I was standing there with the Crown Prince. We couldn't talk.
Are you
With the Crown Prince, bro, you're literally meeting with a Saudi Arabian brutal dictator while trying to block the release of pedophile information about yourself. Is so fucking comical. It's unclear what exactly Johnson has to be worried about aside from more allegations and potentially incriminating references to Donald Trump. Of course, dude, who wrote this? This is sick. Malcolm Ferguson, awesome. Yeah, once again, Mike Johnson, he, not once again, but another act of Mike Johnson's resistance against the release of this bill is his delaying of swearing in Adaliva Grijalva, or Grijalva, because he says because he didn't want her to be sworn in so that the Epstein files could be released. That's why he was delaying her swearing in. So yeah, he delayed it for like 3 weeks. It's unclear what he's worried about. From the files that are on my desk to this, the GOP's handling of the Epstein case has been completely botched from the jump. Now Johnson is hand-wringing about amendments and concerns while the majority of Congress in the country is longing for any semblance of truth or transparency. What amendments would Johnson possibly introduce that would get in the way of that? I cannot believe they took all the goodwill they had after the election and called us stupid for wanting the files, then trying to primary 2 Republicans, then in the end release the files anyway. One user replied to Massey, "Megan needs a better PR firm." Damn, bro. Damn. Okay, come on. Take us away, Marjorie Taylor Greene, because we all know who's been trying to stop the release of the files, and it's not the Democrats.
The easiest thing for the President of the United States to release all the information, every single file, on behalf of these American women. These American women aren't rich, powerful elites. They do not have someone paying for their airline tickets or paying for their trips or paying for their expenses every time they try to do something to get this information out. These are your average Americans. And you want to know what the Epstein files represent? The cover-up represents to average Americans. It represents the failures of the federal government and Congress to the American people. And that is what people rose up about in 2024. They wanted and demanded transparency from their government and for Americans finally to be put first. And today, with this vote, we are finally putting these victims and these survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and the cabal of rich, powerful elites that expands not just here in the United States of America, but to other countries as well. We're putting them last. And that is exactly what Americans want. You see, for far too long, Americans have been put last. And they're sick of it. They're sick and tired of it. And this is why they don't trust Congress. This is why they don't trust the government. And here's the problem. All of these women who have suffered in shame for years and years and years, women who were terrified, women who were intimidated, women who were threatened, just like Virginia Giuffre. And now she's dead.
Okay, is that really? I don't think that's how you pronounce her name, but yeah, that is unfortunate. Due to the stress of having to hound her own abuser in order for justice to be done, she did end up taking her own life, which is extremely sad. But I'm laughing because she's talking about like the elite cabal of pedophiles and the Americans voted for more transparency and this shit. It's like it's your guy. It's your fucking guy, and it's this cognitive dissonance that's just rampant, shot through the Republican Party that really just, I think is it's making them estranged from the average American voter, because in order to be on the side of these popular issues, be on the side of Gaza, be on the side of anti-pedophile, be on the side of not destroying families who are just trying to work and get by in this country. Be on the side of all of these positive issues. Be on the side of helping people get health care. In order to be on all of these insanely popular and just good for humanity things like anti-pedophilia, pro-healthcare, anti-genocide, all of these things, in order to take those positions, you can't be a Republican. Or if you at least pretend like you hold those positions, then your actions don't line up with your words. So this party has really devolved into a cult where they're saying, you know, you say that you hold these strongly held convictions, but your actions don't actually match up with them at all. Like, you've voted to shut down healthcare. You are in favor of ICE coming in and ripping people, ripping families apart. You are in favor of protecting pedophiles. You are in favor of genocide. It's an absolute just demonic party. It truly is. But I think, you know, they say that they're against bad things, but they're clearly for bad things. Like, it's an anti-human party. So you either have to have cognitive dissonance or just be a complete liar and shill. And I think that a lot of people are seeing the actions of this administration and are like, I don't want to be associated with that. And we're seeing poll after poll come out where Americans are not wanting to vote for Republicans. A poll just came out today, and it was not good. It was not good. Donald Trump's approval rating is almost at a record, like an all-time record low, almost as bad as it was post January 6th. Like, this party is killing themselves. Tribalism leads to endless cognitive dissonance. Well, yeah, tribalism, it's not even really tribalism. It truly is just authoritarianism. It's sucking up to an authoritarian leader, and when the internal party politics are determined by who can be the most sycophantic to Donald Trump, then you get this skewed selective pressure where the people within the party are rising to the top due to these selective influences that aren't the same selective influences for people looking out, that are outside of the party looking in. When people are outside of the party are looking at, like, I saw the fucking press conference that they were doing for FIFA, and every person was more sycophantic to Donald Trump than the last. They're like, we wouldn't have had soccer without you, Donald Trump. Thank you for your brave and beautiful leadership, for allowing America to hold like 150 soccer matches next year. It's like, what are you talking about? This is off-putting to people. It disgusts them when they see people kissing Donald Trump's asshole and then also saying things like, we want to make these soccer games safe, so you have to like apply 60 days in advance for your visa because, you know, this isn't America's not open and it's not a free-for-all. You can come in, but you also have to leave, and don't overstay your welcome. Like, that is a selective pressure within the mega party that is having people get to the top of that party, get into positions of power, but it's so disgusting and off-putting for everyone that's not within that cult, trying to climb up those twisted, incestuous power, like rungs of power. We like eating and not being raped. Well, that's a big ask. Yeah, that's true. That is a big ask. They say transhumanist. Thank you very much. Yeah. Instead of demonic, they're transhumanist. They would hate being called that.
And these women should have never faced that, for this information to come out. And we, especially the 4 Republican members of the House of Representatives, we should have never faced intimidation and threats for us.
Bro, Lauren Boebert was literally pulled into the Situation Room and like grilled for an hour and a half, saying don't vote for the release of the Epstein files. Holy shit.
Us to get this vote to come to the floor. Never forget, there were 4. Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. We had to sign a discharge petition, and we had to fight through intimidation, and we had to endure it for months to push that discharge petition. Finally,
He's not wrong. Come on, Marjorie. Why aren't you naming names of the people that were trying to stop the pedophile information from getting released? Wasn't this the whole thing? Like Hillary Clinton was holding children in a basement of a pizza shop somewhere, and she was like drinking their blood or sucking their dicks or something. Like, isn't this the Republicans' whole thing? We have to name names and hold pedophiles to account. And now it's this, oh, people were stopping me. People were stopping. We had to fight against people. I'm not going to be specific, but like what? Are you implying it was the Democrats that were stopping you? Come on, be specific.
To 218 to get this vote to come out. This is what the American people are sick of, and rightfully so. Now, where does this go from here?
Dude, honestly, Marjorie Taylor Greene. A lot of people are like, where does MAGA go when Donald Trump dies? You might be looking at her right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's just list these things. She's as MAGA gets, but with a few different distinctions, right? She's not pro-Israel. And guess who's not pro-Israel? The surging underbelly of MAGA right now. The Candace Owens watchers, the Nick Fuentes watchers, the Tucker Carlson watchers, all of the uninstitutionalized power of MAGA is anti-Israel. And she's also anti-Epstein. She's making a name for herself by being anti-Epstein. Like, I don't know, guys. Marjorie Taylor Greene might actually be gaining a lot of power within the conservative side of the movement. We'll see, but it just seems like her political instincts are actually pretty good, where she knows when to cut bait. And I mean, she's also anti-Semitic as fuck. Remember, she said that Jewish space lasers started the fires in Hawaii like a few years ago. It was Jewish space lasers that did it. But so she's also anti-Semitic, but she does have some good political positions that are popular within MAGA.
The question will remain, will the Department of Justice release all the information? Will a judge in New York release the information? Will the CIA release the information? And will foreign governments release their information? Or will this continue after this vote today be a cover-up? A cover-up of the rich, powerful elites that bond together in sex and human trafficking abuse and all types of global business that enrich.
And just know, this is like red meat to the MAGA base too. You can say, oh, it's the rich, powerful elites. I've been fighting, I've been getting intimidated in releasing it. She's not saying I've been getting intimidated by the Trump administration. I've been fighting Mike Johnson. And Donald Trump and Elon Musk are part of the global pedophile billionaires, right? She's not saying any of that. And the people she's talking to that are in her base that have voted for her, that vote Republican and eat all of this shit up, they are perfectly happy and capable of sitting here and listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene say, I've been fighting like hell against Congress. Or like, she didn't even say against Congress. I've been fighting like hell. People have been intimidating me, but I'm fighting to end the global cabal of billionaire pedophiles. They're perfectly happy hearing her say that and be like, yeah, and I support Donald Trump. Yeah, and Mike Johnson's awesome. Like, they don't have like a logic chain in their brain. So they hear her say, bad people are trying to stop me. And the bad people that are trying to stop her are Republicans. And they're like, okay, well, that's bad. I still support Republicans, though. So, like, she doesn't need to say the other thing, because there's nothing on this planet less inquisitive than a Republican, especially a Republican that's into conspiracy theories.
Enriches them, but never serves Americans. The American people will know, and the victims, actually the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, will know.
Narwhal by nature. I actually think that like Alex Jones is more sycophantic to Trump than Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Alex Jones recently was lamenting the fact that there's like a mega civil war over Israel and over the Epstein stuff. He's kind of a fence sitter. He's a dick rider of Trump. He's already made excuses for Trump, saying that, oh, he's trying to leverage the deep state's like connections with Epstein, and he's trying to blackmail the deep state, or he's trying to blackmail the Democrats. That's a less coherent position than what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is more coherent, and because of its coherency, it's more powerful. She can just be like, screw the pedophiles and we should release the information. Alex Jones is like juggling the desire to release the information about Epstein with the knowledge that Republicans have all of their hands on the levers of power and are choosing to not release the information. Marjorie Taylor Greene's just like, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing right now. Like, ironically, Alex Jones is really like a thing of the past. Like, he's in a different section of MAGA than Marjorie Taylor Greene is right now.
Because they know the list of names. And I remain dedicated to my promise to read those names here on the House floor if those women ever find them in a place that it needs to be done. I yield back.
Can't we all just get along and buy my dick pills? Everyone needs my dick pills. Let's go. Okay, goddamn, bro. I can't believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually going to like do something good. Dude, how the fuck this really is the worst timeline when pedophile files are being released because of Marjorie Taylor Greene of all people. What? How is Marjorie Taylor Greene like one of the better Republicans? It's crazy.
President Trump has just announced he's signed the bill compelling the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, he made the announcement a short time ago on Truth Social. I'm going to bring in senior legal analyst Ellie Honig. So, all right, so he signed it. What now happens? What would, in any normal circumstances, happen at the Department of Justice? And do we know what's going to happen here? Because Pam Bondi has come out talking about this new investigation, which the president urged her to take.
So all of this is highly abnormal. I mean, in a regular case, DOJ would never just open up its files like this, but we have a piece of legislation now just signed into law moments ago. That triggers DOJ's 30 days. They now have 30 days to make all of this public, to get it over to Congress, which actually puts the disclosure right on the eve of Christmas, December 19th or so.
Merry Christmas.
One really important thing I want people to understand, though, there's a huge loophole in the law itself that President Trump just signed, and that says that DOJ does not have to make public any materials relating to ongoing criminal investigations. And what that means is it's going to be up to Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche and Kash Patel. If they want to say, well, that relates to some ongoing investigation, it will be redacted.
And that's why Donald Trump ordered the investigations of Democrats specifically. Like, we'll finish this video, but it's so funny. Trump Epstein investigations. Okay, so this is the bill that he's doing. Timeline of Jeffrey Epstein investigations. All right, let's just read this article really quick. We signed the bill on Wednesday, on November 12th. They released more than 20,000 more pages of records. At this point, though, some documents, 300 gigabytes of data, paper, video, photographs, and audio that live within the FBI's main electronic case management system, Sentinel. Fucking anime-ass name. The cases continue to fascinate the public. Okay, who gives up? God damn, bro. Search warrants. Okay, this is a whole lot of useless. What about NPR? What does NPR have? What's next? President Donald Trump has signed the bill. Both the House and the Senate passed the bill. This bill is a command for the president to be fully transparent. Who said this? Chuck Schumer said in a social media post Wednesday as he announced that he had signed the bill. Trump wrote, Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try to distract from the amazing victories. Dude, he's so funny. The swift bipartisan work in Congress this week was a response to the growing public demand that the Epstein files be released. Man, so Congress is capable of responding to a growing public demand of things. Interesting. Notice how it's, we're going to release Epstein files, but we're not actually going to do anything that impacts capital at all, unless it impacts them in a beneficial way. What does the bill do? It compels Attorney General Pam Bondi to release essentially everything. Okay, it will also compel the Justice Department to produce all its internal communications on Epstein. The legislation, however, exempts some parts of the case files. The bill's authors made sure to include that the Justice Department could withhold personally identifiable information of victims, child sexual abuse materials, and information deemed by the administration to be classified for national defense or foreign policy. We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting the victims, Bondi told a news conference Wednesday when asked about releasing files. The bill also allows the Justice Department to withhold information that would jeopardize active investigations or prosecutions. That's created some worry among the bill's proponents that the department would open an active investigations into people named in the Epstein files in order to shield that material from public view. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that she saw the administration's compliance with the bill as its real test. Will the Department of Justice release files, or will it remain all tied up in investigations, she asked. Well, at least she's being cognizant of the loophole and is saying if you fucking use this loophole, that's an indication that you're not actually following the bill at all. In July, the FBI said in a memo regarding the Epstein investigation that we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. But Bondi last week complied with Trump's demands and ordered a federal prosecutor to investigate Epstein's ties to the president's political foes, including Clinton. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I searched this shit up and it's not showing up. Why? I don't know. Why is the news why is it so difficult to actually find information? And I guess there's a lot of Epstein news. At Trump's urging, Bondi says the U.S. will investigate Epstein's ties to Clinton and other political foes. Okay, come on.
Another question. You asked for an investigation today into people associated with Epstein.
Dude, he's so sweaty. He literally looks like a cartoon sweating politician who's caught red-handed. Usually it's with an affair, but in this case it's I fucked children 20 years ago. Hopefully it was as long as 20 years ago.
Another question.
Who knows?
You asked for an investigation today into people associated with Epstein.
Yeah.
Including Reid Hoffman, the major Democratic donor.
Right.
What impact do you hope that kind of investigation can have on next year's?
I don't know, but I heard they are appointing a U.S. attorney, and I hear a really good one to look into it. I hear Southern District is going to be looking Jay Clayton, and he's a great man, a great attorney, and he's a highly respected, one of the most respected.
Why is he hiding in a doorway? What the fuck is this?
People in the country in terms of law and law enforcement. As you know, he headed up the SEC. He was the head of Sullivan and Cromwell for years. He's one of the most respected people in the country. He's been confirmed for the Southern District. And I heard Jay is going to be looking into it. Jay Clayton is a real, he's a real legal talent and a very, very legitimate person.
Do you think you believe that presidents should be able to order investigations?
Sure. I mean, I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the country. Not that I want to use that, but I am considered the chief law enforcement agent in the country, and I'm allowed to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I had nothing to do with that choice. As an example, that came from Pam Bondi from the DOJ.
You're the chief law... Dude, he's I'm the chief. I can tell her to do whatever I want. But also, that was entirely her decision. Oh my god. Yes, he's ordering an investigation into specifically the Democrats in order to not release files about Epstein. It's so comical. It really is. This is a ridiculous world we're living in. Still, a Rep. Thomas Massey, a Kentucky Republican who sponsored the bill, said there's no way they can have enough investigations to cover all of the people he believes are implicated in Epstein's abuse, And if they do, then good, he added. The bill also requires the Justice Department to produce reports on what materials it withheld, as well as redactions made within 15 days of the release of the files. It stipulates that officials can't withhold or redact anything on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary who could be named. Yeah, we don't really care about that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're definitely leaving themselves some room. They're leaving themselves some wiggle room. But goddamn, like it's not a good look if they don't release these files now.
We are now hearing for the first time since the Senate made its move from President Trump. Gabe Gutierrez is at the White House. Come on in, Gabe, because it came on Truth Social, which is where the president often delivers that first reaction in the last few seconds.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. Look, no sooner than I had to walk away from this camera a few minutes ago, went inside to speak with White House officials about whether the president would sign this bill potentially tonight. At that same exact time, the president posting this on Truth Social, not giving any indication for a timeline, but notably saying, quote, "I don't care when the Senate passes the House bill, whether tonight or at some other time in the near future. I just don't want Republicans to take their eyes off all the victories we've had." And then he goes on.
Bro, Donald Trump, why would you post, dude, he's such an old man. Why would you be like passing a bill, releasing information about elite pedophiles is not a victory? Like, that's what you're saying in this. You're like, let's not get distracted by this bill. Let's focus on the victories we've had. This is a victory for a lot of, this is a victory. You ran on this. You ran on releasing the Epstein files. You had your son come out and say, we have to release the Epstein files. And you're like, don't pay attention to the Epstein files being released. Let's focus on victories. Oh my God. You can't dude, he's so old.
To list some of those victories, including what he calls the Great Big Beautiful Bill and also closing borders. This is some
Great Big Beautiful Bill, stripping healthcare away from millions. That's great. That's gonna save our rich friends a lot of money. But releasing the pedophile information, that's a big L for us. Why would you say that? We don't want to ruin the reputation. Hold on. We need to go back to that one fucking famous clip. Trump release Epstein files. Fox interview. Mud, I need to find that clip. That clip was so good. Fox interview campaign. Where is it? Trump hedges on declassifying Epstein files.
If you were president,
God, why is it a fucking like short? Just give me a regular.
would you declassify? You can answer yes or no to these. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you?
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
It's all AI, all of those kids. In fact, I think back in 2003 when I was raping that 13-year-old, I think that was AI too. You know, they say that CSAM, it doesn't count if it's animated, and a lot of that stuff is animated. You can't trust it anymore. You can't trust it. Let's focus on the good. Focus on the good times. Focus on the victories, not on the L's. Today was not a victory. A lot of people were happy, but I wasn't. That's not a good thing.
Something that the president has insisted on over the last several days, Hallie, expressing this frustration that the Epstein files is dominating the conversation here in Washington and overshadowing what he feels are the accomplishments of his administration. But again, the president in the last few minutes saying that he essentially does not care about the timing of when this gets out of Congress, but also giving no indication about when he actually does plan to sign this bill. In speaking with White House officials, again, very briefly in the last few minutes, they have no indication on whether the president might sign this tonight. It is notable, however, that he will be hosting the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman here at the White House for a glitzy dinner. Unclear if he'll be able to sign this tonight or if he could wait to sometime in the future, Hal.
Gabe Gutierrez, don't go too far from a camera, given.
I'm too busy justifying murder. I'm too busy justifying the murder of journalists to sign the release of the pedophile information. Dude, what the fuck is going on in this country? Look at this. Look at this. This was Donald Trump's meeting with what's his name? The Crown Prince.
Talking about whether you like him or didn't. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you.
Bro, they're asked about the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, and Trump's like, a lot of people didn't like that guy. He was a cruel guy. He's very nasty. In my opinion, he got what was coming to him.
Talking about whether you like. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen.
That was an absolutely stunning moment inside the.
Oh, sorry, that's Caitlin Collins. We need to find that full clip, by the way. We need to find that full clip. That's insane. Trump, Jamal Khashoggi. Why would he? A lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people didn't like him.
Mr. President.
His wife, she wasn't very fond of. I met her. I felt her up. She wasn't that good, but she didn't like Jamal.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families.
Dude, props to that fucking journalist, by the way.
Are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you?
Look at that smile. Come on,
Are
dude.
furious that you are here in the Oval Office.
All he can do is like give us one of the evilest smiles. Netanyahu would blush if he saw a smile like that.
Why should
Look at that. Oh yeah, I murdered him. So what? Now I'm in the White House. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, 9/11? That brings back good memories. Wow. Huh? He lives up to the name of being a prince. I mean, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like, no one with a royal title should ever be allowed in this country. I'm sorry, that's hot take. No one with a royal title should ever be fucking allowed, let alone the murdering of journalists, doing genocide in Yemen, and helping orchestrate 9/11. I mean, come on. But let's let Trump give the reporter a dressing down.
Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over.
It's a family business, dude.
They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been...
Dude, didn't Saudi Arabia just give your son like $1 billion? Saudi Arabia, Jared Kushner. Oh, AI overview. Thank you, AI overview. President Donald Trump played down his family's business ties with Saudi Arabia. He said that we've done very little deals. Following the end of Trump's first term, the president's family has secured at least 9 deals with Saudi investors, according to Forbes report, engaging in a multi-million-dollar ventures involving Trump's golf properties and licensing businesses. Last year, the president and his extended family generated an estimated $50 million from deals linked to Saudi Arabia. Oh, we have done very few deals. We've done very few deals. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, secured capital commitments of $2 billion from Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund from 2021 to 2024. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It wasn't $1 billion. It was $2 billion. I stand corrected. Very few deals with Saudi Arabia they bought EA together. They bought the fucking, like, the biggest video game on the planet, like the biggest video game company on the planet. I mean, hopefully no one likes EA because that's quality is about to drop massively.
Very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful.
The first thing you did as a president was become a billionaire by doing a crypto rug pull on your voter. What do you... I decided to leave the family business behind to make America successful by scamming America at every single turn you have. Dude, what happened to what are your Trump cards NFTs worth right now? Oh my God, dude. You literally, like, I know this is meaningless, but you tweeted out an AI video of you shitting on America, and it's the perfect depiction of your presidency. I guess maybe like doing an AI version of you rug pulling America might be a little bit more on the nose, but I think shitting on America is apt.
And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now.
He's just making up numbers.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely...
Trump's breath has got to just smell nasty. Everyone that gets close to him tries to stay as far away from him as possible. I mean, look at this guy. He's like, these chairs are a little bit too close. He's like leaning away right now. I'm sure all of the reporters are like, dude, his gums have just got to be rotting out of his mouth. He's got these veneers on, dude. He doesn't brush his teeth. He just drinks soda all day. Like, the guy's just a mess.
Really controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about.
Actually, I guess it's not veneers, it's just dentures. He spits tonsil stones at you. When he talks, most people spit out like little flecks of saliva. He's just like shooting tonsil stones at you.
Whether you like him.
Dude, this is so crazy though. He's literally justifying the not even extrajudicial, just like straight up abduction and murder of an American citizen by a foreign country. Like, I know he doesn't care about killing civilians. He does that all the time. This is a good pause phase, by the way. It looks like he's having a stroke. He kills people all the time. He kills innocent people all the time. Like, he's killed, what, 100 people off of the coast of Venezuela now by just bombing their ships. He's just looked the other way as Israel slaughters hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and does terrorism in the West Bank. He bombed Yemen. He greenlit the bombing of Iran. He bombed Iran. Americans are dying to his Gestapo, and they're getting kidnapped every single day and beaten by his Gestapo. Like, he loves murdering people, but it's another country that's doing it. You're just like, yeah, it's fucking awesome that he did it. The guy sucked anyway.
There'd be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing.
What? This is so dystopian. The guy murdered a journalist and then disembodied him, and he's just sitting there like playing with his hands while the president of the country that the citizen belonged to that you murdered is like, yeah, he's great. This guy's great, and the guy that he killed was bad. Yay him, nay the guy that he murdered. And he's just sitting there. He's like, interesting. Yeah, so like something about just like the childishness of just sitting there playing with your hands is like a senile old man defends your crimes against humanity is just really, really sickening.
Things happen, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Okay, just you ask, Mr. President, if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation. to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that, that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America.
And he's like, and as far as Jamal Khashoggi's concerned, yeah, he was not a good guy. I killed him. Like, dude, what would happen if he said that? Nothing would happen. Donald Trump would be like, yeah, like, I heard that he was the worst. Like, he would just, like, what? He'd get a fist bump from Trump? He'd get an extra serving of seafood at their dinner?
And Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or not in a legal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia. And we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake. And we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
What? He's just like, yeah, that was our bad. I totally killed him, but we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what his response is? Oh my god. Dude, somehow a more human response from this guy that, like, he like Zoom called in as they were putting Jamal Khashoggi's body in acid barrels than Donald Trump was like, yeah, I heard that Jamal deserved it. Dude, what? Why is that what we're doing right now? Oh, sorry, I can't sign the release of the Epstein files right now because I'm busy laundering the reputation of a murderous dictator. Oh, I mean, he probably is like, treat others the way you want to be treated, right?
I want to bring in the family members of one of the most prominent Epstein accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She died by suicide earlier this year. Her brother and sister-in-law are with us now, Sky and Amanda Roberts. We're very grateful to have you here on such.
Okay, I think we're still good.
She did it. She paved the way for the survivors to continue to come forward and to continue to fight. And it means everything to us today. I mean, it's unanimous. There was only one nay on the floor. I think.
Yeah. We have too many buzzsaws in Saudi Arabia. They're just lying around. But don't worry. Over the past few years, we really cleaned it up. And people just aren't randomly getting disembodied anymore. They're not randomly getting dismembered anymore. We really have, there was an issue that we had to face, but we came together as a country, and I'm really happy with the progress that we've made. just dissidents against the regime. They were falling out of windows all the time. But don't worry, we added a few extra nails to every window, and they're pretty secure right now.
it represents how the American people truly.
Anyway, yeah, this is definitely sad because this is a victim of Donald Trump's and Jeffrey Epstein's abuse that just was not able to see any kind of justice, wasn't even able to see any kind of like popular support in the country coming out against Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Keep in mind, Donald Trump, like, Jeffrey Epstein is like, Trump knew about the girls and he told Ghislaine to stop. So Donald Trump knew about the fucking victims of sex trafficking by Epstein, and he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing about it.
I want to bring in the family members of one of the most prominent Epstein accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She died by suicide earlier this year. Her brother and sister-in-law are with us now, Sky and Amanda Roberts. We're very grateful to have you.
Narwhal, thank you for the $5 super chat. Rest in power says, yes, definitely agree.
Here on such.
What is going on with this video?
She did it. She did it. She paved the way for the survivors to continue to come forward and to continue to fight. And it means everything to us today. I mean, it's unanimous. There was only one nay on the floor. I think it represents how the American people truly feel about this, and that it's time. It's time to give healing to the survivors, but it's also time to give healing to so many other survivors out there, including many Americans that have a very similar story, even though it's not Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So, you know, we're so proud of her today. It's a win, and we got to take those wins, you know, because there's a lot more work to continue to do.
What do you think Virginia would say if she were here today?
Bro, it really just is. It's not good. It's not good. You have the news. What is this? NBC News? The guy's like, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. Immediately, the news anchor just turns to the other family member of the victim and is like, how do you think that Virginia would feel? Like, just an absolute refusal to engage in the idea that, yes, this is not, like, this is step one of holding these people accountable. It is not the end result. It is not the end goal of the victims of this abuse. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I really appreciate how Sky Roberts is centering not only his sister, but the idea that there's a lot more work that needs to be done before he can rest, and before the victims of Jeffrey Epstein should be able to rest, before people are held accountable.
I don't think I could say that on live television, honestly. I think she was just such a firecracker, but I think she'd say, we're doing it. And she would look at her survivor sisters and tell them everything that they've done, everything that they've been fighting for together was not in vain. And I think she would feel so much joy today, and like the camaraderie with her survivor sisters today was so powerful, and it was so special to share this moment with them.
Scott, for both of you, there may still be a road ahead. We just had that conversation about what could happen in the Senate, and then it's got to go to the president's desk for him to sign it into law. How are you both thinking about the road ahead from here?
I think it's a marathon, and it's been a marathon. I mean, you're talking about decades worth of abuse that is now coming to surface, and they're finally getting accountability for that, or acknowledgement, right? Today was a big acknowledgement, but it needs to go through the Senate. We need unanimous vote.
It's an acknowledgement. Like, this is not accountability.
Votes through the Senate, and then it is going to go on President Trump's desk. I mean, we are very hopeful for that, but there's a lot of fight left, because the first step in we are ready for that, or acknowledge
the road ahead from here. Desk for him to sign it in the law. How a conversation about what could happen in the Senate, and then it's got to go to the president's desk for him to sign it in the law.
Like, notice how she's still talking about the bill. I guess this was before the bill was actually signed by Donald Trump, but she's like, it's got to go to the Senate, and then it could be amended, and then it's going to have to go back to the House, back to the Senate, back to Donald Trump. Like, that's not really the path that these people are talking about.
It needs to go through the Senate. We need unanimous votes through the Senate, and then it is going to go on President Trump's desk. I mean, we are very hopeful for that, but there's a lot of fight left, because the first step in the healing journey, or just in this journey of justice, is acknowledgement first, and then it's accountability. Once we do get the files released, and we do uncover the names of some of the most rich and powerful politicians and financiers and world leaders, I mean, it's time to hold them to account, whether that's social justice or whether that's that.
Bro, I love the focus on holding these people accountable for their actions. I love that focus from him.
That's true justice, which is our legal system.
Scott calls this a marathon. Amanda, is that how you see it?
I think.
Bro, just once again, like, goddamn, I wish I was wrong. Where's the engagement in, yes, there could be a lot of important, powerful names on here. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared for the resistance for, like, these institutions to protect themselves from powerful people being called out by them? We saw Larry Summers withdrawing from the OpenAI board of commission that he was sitting on, but he's still in Harvard. Do you think he should resign from there? Like, just Nothing. You get nothing. No engagement whatsoever. He's like, I'm excited to see the rich and powerful people that are going to be named get called out, and then hopefully we can have justice there. And she's like, and how do you feel about this? Are you ready for a marathon?
That's what I said today in speaking with many members of the House and the Democratic Women's Caucus and some of the Republican representatives as well, is that we've been running this marathon by ourselves, and we need you to run it with us. No matter what hurdles may happen even after this, we need you to run this marathon with us. We need you to carry this load. And if we can do it together, then we can push this through. And it's time. So I think it's why it's so important when these wins do happen. It gives you rejuvenation to keep going. You know, it's exhausting to reveal that emotional trauma every single time. So I think the ask today was, no matter what happens today, run this marathon with us and let's get through these hurdles together.
You talk about this process moving forward here. President Trump was asked today in the Oval Office, why not simply direct his Department of Justice to release these files now? What would your message be to the administration on that? Amanda, Skye, either one of you.
I think it's really difficult. It's a twofold thing with the administration. I feel like we've gone through this process of gaslighting and the back and forth, and it's really hard to trust the things that they say. I think we're looking to them for action. Actions are going to speak volumes more than anything else. And it's in your power to do the right thing. So if you wanted this to be released, then you would just do it. I think we are looking elsewhere for the hand of help right now. It would be surprising. It would be a pleasant surprise to see this administration really back survivors and release the files and do the right thing. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be naive to expect that to happen. I would love to be pleasantly surprised.
We have also talked before about Ghislaine Maxwell, who is obviously serving her sentence, and some form of leniency or clemency has not been ruled out. The president, again, I don't know if we've talked since then, just recently, again was asked about it and again did not rule that out. How do you see that?
It's truly a slap in the face.
Bro, this is really dark. The interviewer is just like, why do you think that the guy who's implicated by all of these files is not releasing the files? Why do you think that the guy who's implicated by all of these files is giving preferential treatment to the woman that could implicate him? Like, why are you asking the survivors about this? This is disgusting. They're like, you see the criminals that were involved in driving your family member to take her own life because of the abuse that she suffered while being sex trafficked, and then also afterwards, like the public harassment that she endured. How do you feel about seeing that person protecting other pedophiles? How do you feel about that? Why are you asking them that? Of course they're not happy about it. This is really fucking, I mean, goddamn, does she not have any empathy for them at all? Is it just like, just turn into a machine mode, I guess?
To us and to so many survivors out there, the truth is, like, the UK and the king can strip his brother of the prince title, but our own president can't rule out a convicted somebody who's been convicted of sex trafficking minors.
Look, can you bring someone else on to talk about this other than the family members of the victim who took her own life because of the trauma of being sexually trafficked by Epstein and then the public harassment afterwards? There's people that talk about politics for a living that would talk with you about this. She really does look soulless here. She's like a bird of prey.
That's the conversation we're having. I think it's disgusting that she's she's playing with puppies in her prison.
Literally playing with puppies.
You have guards now coming out publicly saying, I'm tired of serving her like she's some type of celebrity inside.
Getting breakfast in bed, playing with puppies, access to the internet, access to computers, access to workout facilities whenever she wants, transferred from like a maximum security to a not a state, but like a less secure prison where it's more comfortable. I mean, dude, she's living a better life than me right now. She's getting therapy dogs that are puppies in training to become therapy dogs, and she's allowed to play with them, which is bad for their training. But they're like, screw this therapy dog's career. We're gonna give it to Ghislaine Maxwell so that she can de-stress as she like reminisces about all of the pedophile parties that she helped Jeffrey Epstein make.
There, she's not a celebrity. She's convicted of sex trafficking minors, including my sister.
One of the things that you two and so many, as you say, who Virginia called her survivor sisters, have been pushing for is the release of more information. Obviously, this is what's happened today is a step closer to that. Are you confident that ultimately these files will be released, Skye?
We're hopeful. They've had them in their possession for a very long time. We hope that they are.
Dude, like, you're interviewing family members of a victim of a horrible crime. You don't ask them about logistics of what's happening. You, like, just try to connect to them on a human level, on an emotional level, and get to know them. Let them tell you their stories. Don't ask them for political analysis. This is so fucking weird to me. It's really weird to me. This is an extremely off-putting interview.
Very careful with the survivors' names. They've been a little reckless recently, especially with the unredaction of our own sisters' names in some of the files coming out. I think they need to make sure they're protecting the survivors first, but make sure we're not protecting the predators. We have to have them released and completely unredacted to the people that would have been involved. And we know for a fact there's videos. My sister was led to the very room where Jeffrey Epstein had shown that he can see everybody in every room. He was a master manipulator. And so we are hopeful. I think it's time for true accountability, and that's what we...
Once again, the guy always coming back to, we need to hold people accountable.
We won't stop. The survivor sisters won't stop until we get that.
Before I let you go, I know that this has been an
We won't stop until we get accountability. Literally speechless from the interviewer. Literally just like leans back, takes a breath, and then she gets told the next question. It's like, okay, before we go, can you tell me what you think about Israel and Palestine? Are you anti-Semitic or not?
That.
Before I let you go, I know that this has been an incredibly difficult year on a lot of fronts for both of you, with the loss of Virginia and with this advocacy that you have been doing over the course of so many months. How are you? How are you doing through all this?
Bro, what a fucking insulting interview. Oh, can you do all of this political analysis? But then I'm gonna like ask you, just let me know how you're doing. You know, an extremely sincere question about how they're feeling. Extremely sincere from you. Yes. Okay. This is funny. I haven't watched this yet, but I have to watch it with you guys. So this is Larry Summers. He's a professor in Harvard, and he got like implicated in the Epstein files. The NPR Larry Summers, the way that NPR put it was fucking hilarious. Larry Summers, he was on NPR last year on the cost of money. Where's the 2025? Epstein. Larry Summers steps down from public commitments. Jeffrey Epstein files. Larry Summers steps back. Epstein survivors to demand. What's this? All right, let's listen to this.
We hear next from Annie Farmer, one of many people who testified against Jeffrey Epstein and his partner Ghislaine Maxwell. She told her story about being abused at Epstein's New Mexico ranch when she was 16. She used her full name at a bail hearing for Epstein and again at Maxwell's criminal trial. She is now here in Washington for this week's House vote, and she is here in Studio 31. Good morning. Thanks for coming by.
Good morning.
What is this?
All right, this is not what I heard. This is pretty dark. I'm actually kind of interested though. Like, we just saw NBC News interviewing like family members of victims of Epstein. I'm kind of interested to hear Steve Inskeep interview someone. But anyway, to talk about Larry Summers, it's like he was interviewing, or he was not interviewing. He was talking with Epstein like thousands of times, and he was making disparaging comments about the IQ of, or about the intelligence of women. Which is it's so funny. It's so good. Okay. Well, let's actually listen to this. Let's save the Larry Summers stuff for later.
Is this moment like for you to be ready for this vote after all this time?
It's a bit surreal, honestly, to be here now.
So I think Steve Inskeep is like a pretty good interviewer right off the bat. He is actually asking like, how are you doing? How are you feeling in this moment? And something that the NBC News reporter could have done.
With so much attention and so much momentum. But it's also, hearing the news, the way it's unfolding, and feeling like there's more and more pressure to finally have the transparency we've been asking for feels really good.
Just a few days ago, it appeared that the White House was pressuring Republican lawmakers to turn against this vote, to take their names off a petition if they could. And suddenly last night, the president says, go ahead and vote for it. What do you think of that about face?
I think there's a healthy amount of skepticism amongst those of us who have been involved in this fight for a long time. There have been so many efforts to, I'd say, politicize this and obfuscate the truth that I hope that is the case and that everyone's on the same page, that this would be the best thing for the American people. But I think that remains to be seen.
Is it a little strange here? The resolution that the president is now in favor of, I guess, would not have the force of law. It would have to still pass the Senate. It would have to be signed by the president. But the documents, so far as we know, are in the Justice Department that the president very strictly controls. What do you want the president to do?
I think we're all very clear. We want all of the files released. I am concerned that, creating a new active investigation would potentially give them the excuse of holding back certain files. And I think that would be very problematic because, again, we have seen this kind of, trickling of information coming out. And I think that's really hard on us. It means that this continues on and on. We want all of the files released.
You just said an interesting thing, referring to another statement of the president at the end of last week. He said, wait a minute, I want to investigate the Democrats, instructed the Justice Department to investigate not him, because his name has turned up hundreds of times in files, but Democrats who've been named. Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, the former Treasury Secretary, on and on, a major Democratic donor, some other people. It sounds like you're skeptical of that demand for an investigation, which the Justice Department is obeying.
Yes. I think, what we have continued to say is this is not partisan. When my sister, Maria Farmer, first reported, she was really the initial whistleblower on this case in 1996. She talked to the FBI, right? That was during the Clinton administration. We have had problems occur in this case during almost every administration. There have been failures over and over again. And that's why we have my sister actually filed a lawsuit against the federal government because of their failures, their negligence, to do the right thing in this case. And so, that's why she did that. That's why we've all come together to say very clearly, bring this out of the shadows. We need full transparency. We don't want excuses about holding certain things back.
When the Justice Department initially said several months ago, we're not releasing any more information, nothing more to see here, whatever we may have, there's no public use in releasing it. Is it possible that they were correct, that there isn't any more information than what's already in the public domain?
No.
Come on, Steve. Pretty good so far. Well, anyway, I guess no, that's not really possible.
Possible.
Go on. Why do you think that?
I mean, I think even what we've seen, right, coming out recently with the work of the House Oversight Committee, right? I think there's certain things there that have come to light that the American public has a lot of interest in knowing and understanding. And it's also, there's a piece about accountability, wanting people that not just participated in these crimes, but also that allowed them, that funded them, that looked the other way. I think there's a reckoning for all of that needs to happen. And so this idea that, no, there's nothing more to see here, we don't buy it.
I guess there have been details that I didn't know in recent days. The idea that Epstein was collaborating with a member of Congress, asking questions about this at one point, the closeness of Larry Summers with Epstein and his wife going back and forth with very intimate discussions, more than 1,000 mentions of the President of the United States in these files, among other things.
Yeah.
The closeness of Larry Summers with Epstein and his wife. Dude, Epstein is actually just he must have been crazy charismatic, because how do you have all of these people acting like you're their best friend? They're all like, oh my God, I just need to talk with that. Unless they're all pedophiles. I don't know if everyone that contacted Epstein was an actual pedophile. Probably a lot of them just looked the other way about Epstein's pedophilia. A lot of them were probably just drawn to him because he had connections and he had a place of power in the world. But yeah, I don't know. How are these people that fascinated with Epstein? It's very curious. Oh, I got killed.
I want to go into one other matter here, if I can, that I feel is important to raise if possible. Megyn Kelly, prominent, you're nodding, you know what I'm going to ask about. I'm going to lay it out here for people who are not familiar. Megyn Kelly, very prominent podcast host, former Fox News host, has been talking about this and in recent days tried to draw a distinction between...
I'm sorry. This is so much better than the NBC News interview. This is way more human. This, he's asked her some things, but a lot of it's been about how she's been feeling and, stemming from her personal experience rather than political analysis and a refusal to actually talk about anyone who's could potentially be involved in the files, unlike the NBC News interview, where they're like, yeah, and we want to focus on the people that actually did the crimes and make sure that they're held accountable. And the interviewer's like, okay, and how are you feeling actually? Let's not talk about the people that did crimes and instead focus on how you're feeling, because I only care about how you're feeling when you potentially can talk about the people that are responsible for the victimization of your sister.
Teenager, someone 16, 17, and abusing an 8-year-old. You have testified that you were abused at the age of 16 at Epstein's New Mexico ranch. Do you see a distinction between an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old?
No. I think that it's incredibly problematic the way that she is trying to minimize crimes against people that are under the law considered children, right? She actually used the term barely legal to describe a 15-year-old, which is completely inaccurate.
Illegal, yes.
Yeah, that is illegal. And I think it's just part of a campaign because they have not been able to get rid of this, maybe trying to say, well, really, this wasn't so bad. And I think that's horrifying. It sends a very dangerous message to young people in this country that if something happened to them, they would not be, it wouldn't be considered a crime. That is wrong.
One other thing I want to ask about before I let you go, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland has given evidence, says that a whistleblower has come forward and given evidence to the House Judiciary Committee of special treatment for Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, including customized meals, playtime with a service dog, access to prison exercise areas, other things. You testified against Maxwell. What do you think of the way she's being treated in prison?
It's disturbing. Yeah, I'm in contact with another woman that testified in that trial as well. And, when we hear these things come out, I think we're horrified, and it makes me think about people who are not here, people like Virginia Giuffre, whose recent memoir has gotten so much attention, and she so clearly describes how Maxwell was very pivotal in the abuse that occurred. And there's another woman who testified in that trial who lost her life since that trial. And I think because of the complications of trauma that she endured. And so it's really, really upsetting to think that she would somehow be escaping her punishment that very much deserves.
Annie Farmer is here in Studio 31. She's here in Washington as the House of Representatives prepares to vote on a...
All right. One interview done right, one interview done wrong. All right, Larry Summers, take it away.
Holly, briefly, I do want to ask about Larry Summers. We mentioned at the top there. Can you remind our viewers what was in these emails with Epstein that are causing him to now step back from the public eye?
Yeah, just extensive correspondence between the former Treasury Secretary under former President Bill Clinton, he's also the former Harvard president, and Epstein, including the most recent message on, I think it was the day before Epstein was arrested in 2019. And so at this point now, you are seeing some of the fallout envelop Larry Summers. He has now stepped down from the board of OpenAI, for example. Harvard's student newspaper, The Crimson, reports that Harvard is opening an investigation into the ties between Epstein and Summers. Summers himself has said he deeply regrets the association and the correspondence, essentially, and that at this point, Zinkley and Kate, he is stepping back from his public commitments right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories.
He's stepping back from his public commitments, except for staying as a Harvard professor. Okay, gotta go full screen for this one. POV, your Harvard professor opens class by recognizing he's in the Epstein files. Some of you may have seen my statement of regret.
Expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching obligations. And so, with your permission, we're going to go forward and talk about the material in the class.
Bro, what the fuck? Yeah, I talked with Epstein. Yeah, we said that women are stupid and made fun of women's intelligence, but I think it's really important that I fulfill my teaching obligations. So let's just get started on the material here. Oh, he resigned after this? He did resign? Former president of Harvard and former secretary of the Treasury under Bill Clinton. He was also asking Epstein advice on how to keep the power imbalance over a woman he trains so he could get sexual favors, and getting all jealous and territorial whenever she talked to or met other men. He also discussed having gross inappropriate feelings for one of his students. Oh my god, this is so good. He resigns from the OpenAI board after the Epstein emails. BBC. This is what we just saw. Wait, what? They continued to correspond until July 5th, 2019, a day before Epstein was arrested and charged with sex trafficking of minors. In a batch of emails, Summers sought Epstein's advice on his relationship with an unnamed woman he described as a mentee. Epstein described himself as a pretty good wingman. In another exchange, Summers... Dude, goddamn, bro. These are, like, so... These are so dry. You can get into the details a little bit more. It's just so bland and really dumbed down for their readers. Summers, in another exchange, Summers lamented that men who hit on women in the workplace may suffer career repercussions. Not been accused in participating in any of Epstein's alleged criminal behavior. So that's all he did, right? Oh, he just said, lamenting that men who hit on women in the workplace may suffer career repercussions, and saying that he had feelings for a mentee. That's it. Do we get a bit of a more in-depth? Do we get a bit of a more in-depth review from the BBC? Summers messaged Epstein in November 2018, seemingly asking for romantic advice related to his interest in someone he said viewed him as an economics mentor, so a student. I think for now I'm going nowhere with her except economics mentor, Summers wrote in one exchange where Epstein referred to himself as Summers' wingman. Am I thanking her or being sorry my being married? I think the former, he wrote in another email. Dude, what? This is what I don't understand with online articles. Why don't you just include the emails? Why does it always need to be editorialized and paraphrased instead of just giving us the first-hand information? Why does it always need to be second-hand? Summers said in a statement to the BBC about the move that he was grateful for the opportunity to have served, excited about the potential of the company and look forward to following their progress. He added that he wanted to rebuild trust and relationships with the people closest to him. He was serving as the Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton and the National Economic Council under Barack Obama. He led Harvard from 2001 to 2006 and remains a professor there. But did he resign? Did he resign from being a professor? The Harvard Crimson. Harvard to launch a new investigation into Epstein's ties to Summers, other university affiliates. Harvard will open a new probe into former university president Lawrence H. Summers' connections with convicted child sex trafficker Jeffrey E. Epstein. The newly released documents reveal the two shared an unusually close relationship for several years, right up until he got arrested for child sexual trafficking. Several other prominent Harvard faculty appeared in the documents, including Harvard Law School Professor Emeritus Alan M. Dershowitz and English Professor Emerita Elisa F. New, who is married to Summers. The move comes 2 days after the Crimson reported a series of back-and-forth exchanges. In the messages, Summers sought Epstein's advice for his pursuit of a romantic relationship with a woman he described as a mentee. Epstein often replied, dude, such a fucking loser, asking Epstein to workshop his messages and help him guide through his interactions with the woman. God, these people are such fucking losers. How do I talk to her? I don't know. Should I say this? Should I include an exclamation mark or just a period? Or is no punctuation more avant-garde and intriguing for the female mind? What should I do, Jeffrey? Help me, Jeffrey. Help me get laid, Jeffrey. Help me cheat on my wife. Dude, shut the fuck up. She's a mentor. She thinks of you as an economic mentor. And you're like, how do I get in her panties? And this is... Dude, oh my god. I've never seen such a nerdier thing in my entire life. What are you, in some kind of like 90s sitcom where your tongue gets tied when you speak to women, so you have to have your friend go like spend up all night with you writing a poem, writing the perfect poem for you to express your thoughts so you can just read it to her when you see her next? God, why are these fucking freaks all just social rejects? Epstein often also, like, say what you want about Harvard. The Harvard Crimson has done the best job of actually analyzing Summers' relationship with Epstein. This is the best article that we've read so far. Epstein often replied within minutes, going as far as calling himself Summers' wingman in one November 2018 message. She must be very confused, or maybe wants to cut me off, but wants professional connection a lot and so holds it. Dude, this was a thing with like YouTubers where it's a bunch of fucking losers, and then they get some kind of power. Like Minecraft gamers. This was a thing with Minecraft gamers. A bunch of fucking high school losers, but then they got a bunch of power because they're suddenly famous on YouTube, and so they just start grooming their fans into sexual relationships. It's the same with this guy. He's obviously just a clueless, bumbling buffoon, but he has power as an economics professor, and he's like, oh, she maybe wants to cut me off, but she wants a professional connection a lot, and so holds to it. So he's like, yes, her desire to advance her career through a relationship with me is having her bear my sexual advances on her. And so she's not actually just blocking me on everything and not seeing me anymore. So I'm like sexually harassing her, but she's bearing it because she wants to advance her career. Okay, great. You just described like the Me Too movement in a nutshell. Late Monday night, Summers announced that he would withdraw from public commitments but continue his teaching obligations. By Tuesday, he had been resigned or been let go from roles with several large organizations, including his positions at Bloomberg and the New York Times. I mean, goddamn, Jeffrey Epstein did have a lot of connections. Swain did not respond to a request for the comment on whether Summers would be sanctioned from teaching while the probe is ongoing. The cache of documents released last week added to a long paper trail detailing ties between Epstein and prominent Harvard affiliates. In the new documents, New discussed her personal projects at length with Epstein, soliciting thousands of dollars in funding from the child sex trafficker several times, years after Harvard said it had stopped taking contributions from Epstein. Well, at least you get that child sex trafficking. He was popular with academics. Besides Summers, Chomsky, and Lawrence Krauss also. Yeah, I guess he was. I think that at the end of the day, academics kind of like hearing themselves speak, and Epstein is kind of this, a powerful guy who actually will let them talk and listen to them. And so I think that, yeah, I read Noam Chomsky's statement, and it's like, he was very useful in telling me about the intricacies of world finance. It's like, can't find that out anywhere else. You need Jeffrey Epstein to tell you about it. It really means a lot to me, all financial help aside, Jeffrey, that you are rooting for me and thinking about me. How much? He donated around $9 million to the school between 1998 and 2008. And she just got thousands of dollars in funding. That's it? So she's like emailing with this guy so closely over the years, and she's just getting like, oh, she discussed a potential $500,000 gift. Okay, a potential gift. He was baiting her with that. Goddamn. Yeah, honestly, hope that all of these people burn. Even if Chomsky's included in that. Like, I don't think Chomsky did anything, but he wasn't talking with Epstein about, oh, how can I get laid by my students? He wasn't talking about that shit.
Does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
What are the next steps, Madam Attorney General, for the DOJ regarding what we assume President Trump will sign into law with the Epstein files? Is this going to be on the Justice Department website? What are you doing here over the next 30 days as we understand it?
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
She just has one answer and she's repeating it. Yeah, the caption of this video is she looks so tired. She looks like she's running on fumes. She's just repeating the same thing to every single question.
When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law.
It's every question. She's like, we will follow the law, we will dedicate ourselves to maximum transparency, and we will protect the victims. Next question.
The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Say the line, Pam.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law to investigate.
Okay, she changed her answer up a little bit by saying the word information 7 times, and then went back to her own like answering machine answer.
Any leads, if there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency.
Yeah, continue to provide maximum transparency. Man, I mean, everyone needs a mantra. Everyone needs a mantra. We will follow the law. We will protect victims and continue to provide maximum transparency. We will follow the law, protect the victims, and continue to provide maximum transparency. Oh my God. Remember when Caroline Leavitt defined transparency as pressuring members of Congress to vote against releasing the files? That was fun. That was a fun little snippet of our American government. Oh man. So much fucked up shit. Anyway, let's get to the second half of the title of today's stream. And it's a lot, I mean, the first half was not fun, but this is a lot less fun than that. Yeah, so ceasefire is still holding up well, and when I say ceasefire, I mean a classic Israeli ceasefire where Palestinians don't do anything to the Israelis, and the Israelis just bomb the fuck out of Palestine, kill Palestinians.
It's the deadliest Israeli attack in Lebanon since a ceasefire formally ended the conflict with Hezbollah a year ago. Lebanon's health ministry says more than a dozen people were killed and many others wounded. Israel says it targeted a training compound operated by Hamas. But bombing a densely populated district raises the probability of civilian casualties.
A strike targeted in the Al Helwa camp, and this type of strike is unprecedented. There was a massacre in the neighborhood. A civilian area was bombed. There's nothing there except parking lots, no military camps.
The military claims it took measures to mitigate harm, but vowed to strike Hamas from wherever they operate. The intensity of the attack raising suspicion of a high-value target.
We've never seen such a large-scale attack leading to this number of victims. So it is quite a departure from the usual Israeli modus operandi, although the Israelis have been carrying out daily attacks.
The last Israeli attack on Ain al-Helwa was in October 2024. A commander of the Palestinian faction Al-Quds Martyrs Brigade reportedly survived that strike. But his son was thought to be among those killed. Israel says attacks in Lebanon are necessary to fully disarm armed groups. On the other hand, Hezbollah and Palestinian factions say their weapons are for self-defense against Israeli aggression. Hamas has condemned the latest attack as a horrific massacre of civilians. Felix Nyawara, Al Jazeera.
Yeah, so they bombed South Lebanon, killed at least 13 people in South Lebanon, and that's on top of killing 28 people in Gaza today. In Gaza, which is not even counting the West Bank, which is just undergoing brutal colonization, brutal terrorism by the colonizers. Israel condemns it, but then they turn the other way, and they don't actually prosecute any of the terrorists that are murdering Palestinians in the West Bank. So that's going on in the West Bank, and in Gaza, there's just people being killed, right? Israeli airstrikes on Gaza City and Khan Yunis have killed at least 28 Palestinians, including women and children, and injured 77. Hamas says it marks a serious escalation. Israeli warplanes have carried out attacks on towns in southern Lebanon, including Anata and Tir Filsi, shortly after earlier Israeli airstrikes killed at least 14 people in the country. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' spokesperson has hit out at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to an Israeli military outpost inside Syria, describing the very public trip as concerning. So as they're colonizing the West Bank, as they're colonizing Gaza, as they're colonizing Lebanon, they're also colonizing Syria. This is what everyone was warning about 2 years ago when Israel first started the genocide. That was just like, look, Israel has always been a colonial project. It has always been intent on expanding its borders. What happened on October 7th, 2023 was an incident that was the result of colonization that simply kickstarted further colonization. That's all that it was. That's all that it was. Like, it was an incident that kickstarted further colonization that was caused by earlier colonization. And we're seeing Israel just go full-on colonial. And the international community is just standing by and doing nothing. Doing literally nothing. Like, I don't know, some people are getting on ships and are trying to send food to Palestine, but you can send as much food as you want when Israel is not allowing any electricity, literally increasing their borders by armed patrols. Like, what are you going to do without any kind of, like, UN military intervention? Or if the United States grew a fucking backbone and said, all right, stop this, we're not going to send you any more weapons, and we're actually going to, like, put down troops to bring your borders back to a regular size and say that you have to give Palestinians equal rights. Like, I don't know. Any kind of pushback from the international community. But yeah, like, as great as a charity event as the Freedom Flotilla is, it's super necessary, don't get me wrong, but the issue is Israel's colonization and the entire world allowing it to happen. That's a pretty big issue that's not going to be solved by like 10 tons of food. I mean, in the meantime, Gaza is literally being flooded by severe rains, and they don't have proper shelter, they don't have proper food, they don't have proper, like, energy or any kind of supplies. Like, they're entering their third winter of genocide. Israeli forces are raiding Palestinian towns in the West Bank. This isn't even the settlers that are just doing, like, haphazard terrorism. This is the actual IDF carrying out raids. I wonder if Ela Klein is getting any kind of nostalgia when she sees this. In Al Labun Asharkia, residents said soldiers opened fire at a Palestinian vehicle and threw stun grenades in front of several shops in the village. In Hizma, the Jerusalem governorate said Israeli forces stormed the town and fired live ammunition, stun grenades, and tear gas canisters extensively. No injuries were reported. Such raids have become an almost daily occurrence in the West Bank, where Israeli forces routinely carry out arrest campaigns and incursions into Palestinian towns and villages. Sounds familiar. I wonder if we're going to get a condemnation of Israel's actions in Lebanon and the West Bank, considering that on the H3 podcast, considering that they have two Lebanese employees. Hila, she regrets her activities in the West Bank, apparently, so she should be hypersensitive about the IDF making other teenagers like her do terrorism in the West Bank. Maybe she's, like, hypersensitive about that. Netanyahu visited Israeli-occupied territory in Syria. Of course, Israel's not doing independent investigations onto October 7th because it would reveal that the IDF acted horribly and more than likely killed a lot of Israelis. Germany is withholding support for UNRWA. That's great. Germany can go fuck itself right now. And then here we go. 28 people dead in Gaza despite the ceasefire. 393 ceasefire violations since the truce began in October. Like, what are we doing? This is a ceasefire and no one's fucking talking about it. You don't hear anything about this on the news. We just had Donald Trump say that it's a ceasefire, and then everyone reported, yeah, it's a ceasefire. All right, we can stop paying attention to it now. Do we have any reasons for this? Oh, it's because Hamas didn't return the bodies of the hostages now? Is that it? God damn, bro. Not even any narration or description of what happened. Israel's Knesset approves first reading of bill to cut UNRWA's electricity and water access. Israel's parliament has advanced a government bill that would prevent water and electricity providers from offering their services to the UN Relief Works Agency for Palestine refugees. The Knesset today approved the first reading of the bill by a margin of 28 to 8 votes. It will be brought before the relevant parliamentary. They've already prohibited... Shit. Am I reconnected?
We've got some more breaking news in right now.
All right, am I good? There might have been an F in the stream. Oh no. All right, I don't know what is going on. My OBS is disconnecting. Hopefully you guys can hear me and we're all good now. Anyway, Israeli state authorities are already prohibited from having any connection with UNRWA. However, the latest legislation goes further, aiming to prevent water and electricity from being supplied to properties registered to UNRWA, while also allowing the Israeli state to seize land the UN agency has registered with the Israel Land Authority. The proposal is seen as the latest attempt by Israel to undermine the work of UNRWA. Yeah, obviously. I mean, yeah, we're still just seeing systemic genocide. I mean, why did they kill 22 in Gaza? Why? Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials reiterated their intention to block future Palestinian statehood ahead of the UN Security Council vote to authorize the U.S. plan for post-war Gaza on Monday. There are 3 remaining deceased hostages in Gaza. Israeli authorities have been releasing the bodies of the Palestinians in exchange for the return of hostage remains. Ceasefire is broadly holding in Gaza, with Israeli forces inside the Strip having pulled back to the so-called Yellow Line. Elsewhere, Israel is continuing strikes on where it says are Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. The IDF is also continuing raids in parts of the occupied West Bank. Netanyahu told the Knesset, Israel's parliament, last week that the war has not ended. Bro, how... David Brennan, we need to have a talk. David Brennan, we need to have a talk. How the fuck You write that the ceasefire has broadly held up when it's been violated 393 times since October. That's a month and a half. And the literal headline of the next part of this is strikes kill at least 22 in Gaza, hospital officials. How the fuck do you say that the ceasefire has broadly held up in Gaza, while the next sentence is strikes kill at least 22 in Gaza, and the last sentence that you type is Netanyahu told the Israeli parliament that the war has not ended. So the prime minister of Israel tells the parliament of Israel that the war isn't over, and then Israel kills 22 Palestinians. But you're saying that the ceasefire has broadly held up. The ceasefire is broadly holding in Gaza. What is going on, man? ABC News, Brennan. What are you doing? What are you doing? David Brennan. You don't have a profile of yourself? Like David N. Brennan. Okay, this is a comic. This is not the ABC correspondent. This is the ABC correspondent. Christopher Miller, there's no way there was a deal done this week by the end of the month. This is about Ukraine? Ukrainians accepting the proposal? Yeah, I just have to, I'm so curious. What's his Twitter? Steve Witkoff tweeted what was meant to be a DM saying that content for this much discussed Axios story must have come from K. US, Russian, Ukrainian deal, support to Ukraine. Why Ukraine's ex-foreign minister won't let Putin go. Thanks to David Brennan for the good coverage of Israel, Iran for ABC, and for including my insights along with those of my esteemed colleague and friend. After opening success, Israel, US consider endgame in Iran. That's what he wrote? After opening success? Netanyahu's top officials and the IDF have made some clear of their war goals, the destruction of Iran's nuclear program. But as in Israel's operation, I mean, yeah, is this guy just an actual Zionist? He's like framing this as a good thing that Israel just did an offensive bombing of Iran, killing hundreds of civilians, and the US joined in on that. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but like the ceasefire is broadly holding, and then you immediately write the president or the prime minister of Israel wants to keep the war going. He didn't even say wants to keep the war going. He's right. He wrote that the prime minister of Israel says that the war is still going, and then 24 Palestinians were murdered. Yeah, just like, I mean, he's focusing a lot on Ukraine. Carlson wants to give a platform to someone accused of crimes of genocide. This is wrong. So he's retweeting about Tucker Carlson. He's pissed off that Tucker Carlson is interviewing Putin, but he's writing glowing reports about Netanyahu having success in Iran. And what is this? He tweeted this. Okay, good. He's actually talking about like some of the shitty things that Israel's doing. Okay, yeah, this is just like an American imperialist. I think that's what we're seeing here. Okay. Strike scale 22 in Gaza. Yeah, with that sham of a peer, that's true. The Israel Defense Forces said it carried out several strikes targeting Hamas throughout the Gaza Strip after shots were fired at an area where troops were operating. Hey, I have a solution. If you don't want your troops to be shot at within Gaza, no one's forcing you to have your troops in Gaza. Like, you don't have to have your troops in Gaza, especially if you don't want your troops in Gaza to be shot at. Like, It's Gaza. It's not Israel. You shouldn't have troops there in the first place. At least 22 people were killed in the strikes, according to hospital officials in Gaza. No casualties were reported by the IDF. Oh, wow. I wonder. Wait, so no casualties were reported. So they just had bullets coming at them, and they killed 22 people, but like the IDF reported no casualties? I wonder why. Or they didn't even report the terrorists that they were targeting? The IDF said its forces will continue to act to eliminate any immediate threat. The U.S. official said the Israeli strikes on Wednesday were in retaliation to Hamas sniper attacks on the IDF on Tuesday. The official warned that Hamas is attempting to break the ceasefire. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so bad. It's so bad for my brain. It's so bad for my brain to read this shit. It's just like Israel kills 22 people and America blames Hamas for it. America blames Hamas for trying to break the ceasefire. Israel kills 22 people and America is blaming Hamas for trying to break the ceasefire. I just need to repeat that like 2 more times. Israel kills 22 people. Yeah. And America is blaming Hamas for attempting to break the ceasefire. All right, last time. Israel kills 22 people, and America is blaming Hamas for attempting to break the ceasefire. Okay, I'm done. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're closing tabs. We're closing tabs. That's too much. That's too much for me. Holy shit. Where's my comfort podcast? Actually, guys, I might have to fucking call the stream there. That was too much for me. That was actually too much for me. Israel bombs Gaza, killing 22 people, and the U.S. official is like, Hamas is attempting to break the ceasefire. It's just like, it's you know, in 1984, they had the double think, right? Or was it called double speak? Where they made you say one thing even though you knew it was wrong. And it's like, oh yeah, 1984, they were just making you do that so you're docile and you'd work for the authoritarian government and you wouldn't question it and you'd buy all of their propaganda. But it's worse now. It's worse what we're experiencing today because no one actually believes it, but the people in power act like you do. It's like I'd rather have a brainwashed population and the people in power actually being somewhat competent and, you know, they've laid the groundwork for their authoritarianism, but we're just seeing them act like we're all brainwashed and using their lies to justify carrying out some of the most heinous crimes that you can imagine, really. It's like, what are we doing? We're doing genocide. We're doing the justification of pedophilia. We're doing mass deportation in this country now. We're doing institutionalized ripping away of people's health care. Like, it's just some of the most evil things being said to us in the most brain rotten of ways possible. How the fuck do you see Israel having troops in Gaza? Dude, Israel literally is invading Gaza, like over 50% of the land in Gaza. And they're like, oh, we're getting shot at, so we're going to kill 22 people. No evidence that they're being shot at, by the way. They don't report any casualties. They're not like, oh, we got shot at, but we like took out the gunman. They reported 0 casualties. Hamas is like, or I don't know, the Palestinian Health Authority is like 22 people were killed. A U.S. official takes that and they're like, Hamas is trying to break the ceasefire. It's just unfathomable that this is really our government. Like, the only way I can function in life is by not thinking about that. It's like I can't go through life thinking like, oh yeah, the person, like the people in charge of this country are some of the most despicable, stupid, incompetent, and evil people that ever picked up a fucking pen or learned how to walk and dress themselves. Like, it's absolutely scum of the earth people that are pulling the strings in this country. And yeah, sorry, it's like we're kind of fucking powerless until we can, I don't know, so we can get some kind of power back in Congress. But yeah, keep making your dissent known, because that's important. That is important to do. Anyway, guys, I'm going to be back later. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Okay? Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to go. Dude. That was too much for me. Everyone, have a great rest of your night, and try to stay sane. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next 24 hours. I want you to do that as well. All right. Thanks for all the chats. Thanks for the super chats. Yeah. Have a great rest of your evening. Peace.